Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're zeroing in on a massive, yet honestly kind of sneaky, brand risk that's probably hiding in your international email campaigns right now. We're going to unpack exactly what that is, and more importantly, figure out which email tools out there actually have the absolute best Smart Pause feature for country specific holidays. Let's get into it. So, picture this. You and your team have spent weeks, literally weeks, crafting the perfect outbound sequence. I'm talking sharp messaging, crystal clear value prop. You finally hit send on a massive batch to a fresh list of highly qualified international leads. But then, your metrics just absolutely tank. What the heck happened? Well, it turns out you just blasted your French leads right in the middle of Bastille Day, or maybe you hit your Indian prospects right during Diwali. Yikes. As our source material points out, making this specific mistake signals one thing instantly: you do not respect their time. Ouch. That is a visceral fear for literally any sales team or agency trying to expand globally. Okay, let's dive into this, because we aren't just going to sit here and talk about the fear of cultural insensitivity today. We're going to actually solve the problem by looking at the tech designed to prevent it. Here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the international email trap, then define Smart Pause, compare the top tools, look at when top tools fall short, and wrap up with the final verdict, moving right along. All right, part one, the international email trap. Believe it or not, even with all our tech today, most tools are missing a pretty huge piece of the puzzle. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how ignoring global holidays doesn't just cause one issue. It creates a domino effect that absolutely wrecks both your brand perception and your sending volume. First, you signal cultural insensitivity. Not a great start. Then, because you're firing emails into totally unattended inboxes, your open rates completely plummet. That alone is bad, but it also triggers an avalanche of automated out-of-office replies, which massively inflates your bounce handling. And if you're an agency juggling multiple campaigns across different countries, it creates a manual tracking nightmare that just flat out does not scale. It's like a giant puzzle with missing pieces. So how do we actually fix this? That brings us to section 2, defining Smart Pause. Let's look at the tech. We need to get a firm handle on this underlying tech because it's way more nuanced than just hitting a do not send button. A true country-specific holiday pause is a feature that automatically suspends outbound sending on the national holidays of the recipient's exact country. And then, crucially, it reschedules the email to the next available send window. The massive takeaway here? It's not just skipping a day and potentially losing a touchpoint. Intelligent rescheduling actually shifts all the subsequent steps forward, so your carefully planned campaign cadence, it stays beautifully intact. All right, on to section 3, comparing the top tools. We're going to evaluate 5 major platforms to see who actually handles this best. And this brilliantly illustrates the landscape. We're looking at Outreach.io, Apollo.io, Mixmax, SmartReach.io, and HubSpot sequences. As you can see, there is a massive, and I mean massive, variation in how they operate. Do they support full country dropdowns? Do they just default to the US? Do they intelligently reschedule or just blindly skip? Let's break these down one by one. First up, Outreach.io. Our source material points to this as the only complete implementation of this feature right now. It gives you a dropdown menu for literally all countries. When a send hits a holiday, it intelligently reschedules to the next available block, keeping your cadence perfect. But here is the absolute game changer. You get separate calendars per schedule. If you're an agency, you can confidently run a US campaign, a UK campaign, a German campaign, and a Japanese campaign all at the exact same time. The system handles the local holidays for each specific region without missing a single beat. Honestly, it's a brilliant operational setup. Now, when you contrast that robust multi-country muscle of Outreach against platforms like Apollo.io and Mixmax, the differences are pretty stark. Apollo defaults to just 7 US federal holidays and simply skips the send entirely. If you want to handle global holidays there, you're stuck building manual external calendars. And Mixmax? It's even simpler, just a basic skip US holidays toggle for Gmail. Look, these two are fantastic for strictly US-centric outreach, but for true global teams, relying on a US-only default means you're taking on a ton of manual overhead. Then there's SmartReach.io.
The sources highlight this one as a strong multi-channel option that nicely pairs holiday calendars with time zone-based scheduling. Sounds great, right? Well, there's a slight catch. They actually lack detailed public documentation on their exact country coverage. So if you're leaning towards SmartReach for this exact feature, definitely request a demo to verify their actual coverage before you commit.
Moving right into Section 4, when top tools fall short, let's talk about the platforms that dropped the ball here. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth is HubSpot Sequences, literally one of the biggest, most popular CRM tools on the entire market, included on this list? So the crucial point is that HubSpot Sequences is featured here purely because it lacks the feature natively. That's right. Despite being an absolute industry giant, it will blindly blast emails on Christmas Day, Diwali, Bastille Day, you name it, unless you manually stop it. It totally shatters the illusion that major CRM tools just automatically handle global outreach out of the box. Actually, users have been begging for this feature in community forums for years, but it still remains completely unsupported. But hey, don't panic. If you're currently stuck using HubSpot or another US-only tool, you aren't totally out of luck. The sources give us a highly actionable 4-step manual workaround that you can literally implement right now. First, build a master calendar using a free API like Calendarific. Second, tag your prospects with a custom country field during import. This is absolutely crucial. Third, use an automation tool like Zapier to pause campaigns when a specific target country's holiday is coming up. And finally, just run a quick manual review every Monday to catch any upcoming holidays. Yeah, it takes effort, but this playbook gives you the power to protect your brand reputation manually. All right, bringing it all home with Section 5, the final verdict. Let's figure out exactly what you should use. Let's move to and see how this builds into our final recommendations. If 95% of your outreach is strictly US-based, honestly, Apollo.io or Mixmax is totally sufficient for your needs. If you require multi-channel outreach, give SmartReach.io a look, but again, verify that coverage first. But if you are doing serious, high-volume global outreach, Outreach.io is the undisputed winner. Having a native, country-specific feature that intelligently reschedules, that pays for itself so incredibly fast by preventing those compounding cross-market disasters we talked about. I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on today. Are your automated sequences accidentally alienating your global prospects right now? Take a beat this week to audit your tech stack. Look closely at where your prospects actually live. The absolute last thing you want is for your perfectly crafted sequence to ruin a relationship before it even starts just because of a local holiday. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and happy sending.